Discover how a millionaire's incredible response to a poor girl's heartwarming plea changed their lives forever. Lily stared at the blank page, her heart racing like a hummingbird's wings. She had never done anything like this before. The weight of her family's struggles twisted her stomach, but the thought of losing her home made her fingers tremble with urgency. Bills stacked like a leaning tower in their tiny kitchen. Eviction notices fluttering like ominous leaves every time the mailman knocked. What if I never got to paint again? She whispered into the silence of her room, the sunlight filtering through her window painting shadows on the floor. The thought tightened her chest, smothering her dreams. It was time to act. With a deep breath, she poured her heart onto the paper, addressing it to Mark Lawson, a name that echoed through the town like a distant thunder. He was the billionaire who had risen from these very streets, leaving a world of struggles behind to become someone who seemed entirely out of reach. Dear Mr. Lawson, she wrote, I know you don't know me, but I believe you understand what it means to fight for something you love. As she wrote about her family, her father losing his factory job, her mother working nights at 2 separate jobs, tears blurred her vision. It was more than just a plea for help. It was a lifeline, a spark of hope in a darkness that felt all-consuming. Days turned into weeks, and just as hope began to dim, a bright envelope landed in her mailbox. Laughter drifted from her neighbor's yard, but Lily's heart raced for a different reason. Mark Lawson had responded. As she tore it open, a flood of emotions surged through her. The letter invited her to a charity event. Her breath caught. Was this real? She stared at the invitation, uncertainty mingling with excitement. What if they don't understand? She thought, doubt creeping in. Her heart raced as she pictured the elitist crowd, reeking of privilege. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As the night fell, Lily entered the grand hall filled with crystal chandeliers and laughter that felt alien to her. Her heart raced, almost as fast as her thoughts. She spotted Mark across the room, surrounded by a sea of tailored suits and sparkling dresses. Hope battled with the fear of being judged. She didn't belong here. As she slowly approached him, valor and vulnerability danced within her. However, the moment Mark introduced her to his peers, hesitation flickered across their faces. What a shame, whispered one woman, her voice dripping with condescension. Lily's heart sank as they dismissed her tales of struggle. Anxiety gripped her, but Lily felt something shift. It was time for her voice to be heard. With a tightened jaw, she stood tall. It's easy to forget, she declared, facing the crowd, but not everyone has the luxury of choice. The light was harsh, but it focused their attention. In that moment, standing in front of the elite, the future felt impossibly close and unbearably distant. Would Mark rise to defend her? Would she find the courage to pierce through their world? As she faced the uncertain glances, a storm of emotions surged between them, both Lily and Mark poised on the edge, waiting for something to change. Lily's heart drummed in her chest, matching the chaotic rhythm of the room. She could feel the eyes of the crowd boring into her, measuring worth by the clothes she wore and her unpolished words. What was I thinking? She thought, wanting to shrink away into the shadows. But the weight of her family's struggles ignited a fire within her. How could she let them down now? Mark stepped closer, his expression shifting from surprise to intrigued. What you just said, he began, but Lily barely caught his words. All she could focus on were the faces around her freezing in their judgment. With each silent moment, doubt crept deeper into her mind, pulling at the very threads that held her together. Just as she thought of retreating, Mark took her arm gently, pulling her into the spotlight. Everyone, this is Lily. She has a story that deserves to be heard, he said, his voice booming with an authority that filled the room. The collective murmurs grew quiet. Surely, they had not expected this. Strengthened by his presence, Lily squared her shoulders and took a deep breath, leaning into the light he had cast upon her. I came here tonight not because I'm trying to impress or beg, she declared, her voice gaining a firmness that surprised even her. but because I want to remind you all that behind every smile is a struggle. Behind every grand party like this is a world that needs understanding and compassion. Each word poured out like paint on a canvas, vibrant and raw. The crowd stirred, a few faces softening, while others remained stone cold. But Mark was listening, and as he smiled at her, she felt a rush of confidence swell. I dream of being an artist, to create yet without support. Talent can only carry you so far. My family needs help now, and I hope that you hear that. One woman with emerald earrings finally broke her silence. It's inspiring, dear, but how can we help you exactly? Her condescension still lingered, but there was a hint of curiosity as well. Lily swallowed hard, the moment feeling heavier now as she realized this was not just about her family. It felt like a plea for the countless others like her. Maybe it starts with understanding the paths we walk, she answered, her courage flowing with every word. Even one small gesture can change lives. Mark nodded, standing beside her like a guardian angel. Which is why I invited you, he interjected, his presence radiating warmth. Together, we can create opportunities for young artists. His voice was steady, brimming with belief that had been missing before. A ripple of agreement spread through the crowd, the whispers of doubt beginning to fade. But just as applause started to break through the tension, Lily spotted the woman with the emerald earrings sneering again, putting her hands on her hips. You think we'll just throw money at someone like you? Why should we care about stories? Her voice was sharp, cutting through the moment like a jagged edge. Lily's breath caught. Was this really what she was up against? But deep down, these words only fueled her. She felt her pulse quicken, determination bubbling inside her. She wasn't done yet. Because every penny goes somewhere, and it could help someone find their purpose. Would you rather it go to waste? Silence enveloped them, the kind that pressed down like a weight. Was there a chance for connection here? Mark's gaze shifted between Lily and the onlookers, an intensity brewing. They stood at a crossroads. Would this moment forge an alliance, or push them further apart? With her heart in her throat, she dared to hope. Would this be the beginning of something greater? Was she here to break through? Or would she be pushed aside by those with privilege and power? As her gaze locked with Mark's, she sensed that something monumental was about to unfold. The applause erupted, a wave of sound washing across the room, but Lily's heart beat an erratic tattoo in her chest. It felt surreal, a moment suspended in time, where she was both trembling with fear and buoyed by hope. The echo of the woman's derision still lingered, yet she could feel the attitude in the crowd shifting. They were pondering now, weighing her words against their own lives. Mark stepped forward, his voice steadying as he addressed the room. Ladies and gentlemen, what Lily just articulated isn't just her dream. It's a reflection of so many youth out there, craving a chance, a spark. Let this be a night of connection and compassion. There it was, that light she had seen in his eyes, a beacon guiding her. As she stood quietly, absorbing the moment, several faces began to brighten, their skepticism melting away. She spotted the Emerald Lady again, folding her arms, still unsure but watching keenly. Then, a tall man with thinning hair spoke up, leaning on a wooden cane. Mark's right. What she said holds a truth we often overlook. How many artists have fallen through the cracks because of indifference? Lily's breath caught again. Could it be? Was her voice starting to resonate? Every artist has a story, Mark continued, drawing more attention. Even those of us here with wealth, have we not battled our demons? Let us listen and find a way to channel that energy into something beautiful. He turned back to Lily, eyes sparkling. What if we create a community fund? Scholarships for artists who need that nudge? The crowd murmured amongst themselves, the mood shifting from judgment to curiosity. Some voices chimed in with support. That's a fantastic idea. Others nodded, a buzz of new possibilities starting to hum. Lily felt her heart racing. I think that would be amazing, she managed to finish. But it shouldn't just be about financial aid. It should also be about mentorship. Creating spaces where artists can thrive together. And as she spoke, a dam inside her began to break. Her words cascaded freely now, articulating what had once been buried deep in her heart. We need a community that lifts each other up. Art can heal, it can inspire change. If we join forces, we can reach so many. The Emerald Lady's face softened slightly, her eyebrows raised in interest. A few others shuffled in their seats, as though they felt the gravity of Lily's passion. But then another voice cut through the air, sharper this time, a younger man, his brow furrowed. And what's to stop this from becoming just another gimmick? Empty promises that lead nowhere? His cynicism hung heavy. A flicker of doubt crept back into Lily's mind. Was he right? Would they really take any action? But she focused again on the swirling energy in the room. Mark's unwavering gaze filled her with reassurance. Because it starts right here, tonight, she asserted, gaining momentum. Let us hold each other accountable. We can decide. It doesn't have to be just talk. The applause grew again, slowly but surely, a hesitant yet growing acceptance of her ideas. Mark stepped forward, almost bursting with enthusiasm. That's right. Let us start something transformative, together. His voice crescendoed, and before she knew it, people were standing, clapping louder, spirits lifting with every beat. But just as she began to feel that something significant was blossoming, the sneering woman chimed in again, her voice dripping with sarcasm. Isn't this just a pretty story over a glass of champagne? Let us see how long it lasts. Lily's heart clenched, but her resolve strengthened. Was this truly how the night would end? Emotions swirled as she faced the crowd, and in that pivotal moment, determination surged. Maybe it wasn't just about creating art, it was about forging a community that could rise above scorn and shine together. The applause dimmed. She felt the burden of her family's struggles merge with the hope radiating from the crowd. Would they be willing to take the plunge into something real? Would the bond they might forge tonight change the lives of countless struggling artists? Like her? Only time would tell. And with that thought, uncertainty tangled with her burgeoning excitement. Little did she know, shadows of doubt had begun to stir a much darker challenge beyond the walls of that room. The atmosphere in the room shifted again. A new wave of energy pulsing between the attendees. Lily could feel it mingling with her own hope, a fragile thing that could crumble at any moment. She dared to breathe, holding on to the anticipation that maybe, just maybe, tonight could be the start of a real change. Mark caught her eye, and with a subtle nod, he gestured for her to continue. Let us not let doubt silence our dreams, she implored, heart racing. This is the time to take action. A moment to stand up for creativity, for the voices that haven't been heard. A few clusters of people leaned closer, their interest piqued anew. After all, haven't we all faced moments of need? A woman's voice rang out from the back, her eyes flashing with determination. Many of us in this room have walked paths where support made all the difference. We can't ignore the power of lifting others. Encouragement surged from the crowd, and the applause returned, more fervent now. Each clapping hand felt like a heartbeat syncing with hers as she found the courage she wasn't sure existed. Yet, the Emerald Lady remained a thundercloud in the midst of gathering sunlight. But who exactly do you think will step up? What if you can't deliver? What if this goes nowhere? Her brow remained creased, skeptically challenging them all. And what if it does? Mark stepped in, his voice steady like a rhythmic drumbeat. What if tonight becomes a turning point? History is often made by the audacious few who dare to dream. Lily felt her heart swell. He was right. History rarely honored the comfortable. History cherished those willing to leap into the unknown. Standing tall, she shouted above the now whirling conversation. Imagine a gallery. A place where artists work together, collaborate, and showcase their talents. We can start quickly, just a small workshop, then grow to something bigger. If we believe, we can kickstart this rippling effect. Eyes sparkled in response, her vision igniting something buried deep inside them. But the woman pressed on. And who will keep this alive? What happens when the novelty wears off? At that moment, her words hit hard. What was to ensure that this wouldn't be just another fleeting moment? A flash in the pan? Timid whispers filled the air as people exchanged glances. Anxiety seemed to strangle the camaraderie rising within the space. Lily's heart sank. Doubt circled like a hawk, looking for weakness. Then she saw Mark move closer, his expression fierce. He held his hands up, steadying the crowd. Let us not spiral into fear, friends. This is not just Lily's voice, it's ours now. Together, we will keep each other accountable. Let us set goals. Let us make commitments. The force of his conviction was palpable, spurring seeds of action. With renewed determination, Lily's voice broke through the noise. Let us pledge here tonight. Will each of you share one thing you will do? One way you will support this community? A hush fell over the gathering. One by one, faces emerged, eyes shining with understanding. I'll start a monthly open mic, a young woman declared, her voice breaking through the collective silence. I can offer my gallery space for exhibits, exclaimed another. As voices joined, a sweet harmony filled the air. Each commitment bolstered Lily's spirit, like bricks forming a sturdy wall against the doubts. But from the shadows a new figure appeared. He was tall, wearing a tailored suit that spoke of influence and wealth, the kind of presence that demanded attention. He cleared his throat, commanding silence once more. I've been listening, he began, a hard edge to his voice. And you know, I have a substantial amount to invest in meaningful endeavors. Lily's breath hitched in anticipation. What did he intend? But I have to know, he continued, eyes glinting. Are you all truly committed to this, or will it dissolve into empty talk? The challenge hung in the air, heavy and full of promise. It felt as if the entire room held its breath, standing at the edge of something momentous. Would they rise to the occasion? Would they make the leap into a brighter future or retreat into the safety of familiarity? As uncertainty and hope collided, one question loomed large: could this night change their lives forever? The answer, perched on the edge of possibility, danced just out of reach. Lily felt her heart pound in her chest as the wealthy man's gaze swept over the room. Each pair of eyes flickered with a mixture of hope and fear, radiating the mounting pressure to deliver. She could feel sweat gather at her temples, but she pushed through. This wasn't just about her now. It was about everyone, about their collective dreams. Nothing worth having comes easy, Lily said, her voice stronger than she felt. We'll work hard. Each of us will bring our passion, our creativity. We'll create something beautiful together. Mark's eyes shone, silently urging her on. That fire inside her roared back to life, propelling her words like arrows. This is about reshaping our future. It's about taking risks and finding strength in vulnerability. We owe it to ourselves. The tension in the air shifted subtly, anticipation mingling with courage. The man in the suit shifted his weight and nodded slightly as if weighing her sincerity. He stepped forward, adjusting his collar, appearing completely out of place among the artists who were both anxious and alive with energy. Well, he said, a hint of a smirk on his lips, you certainly have spirit. But how do you plan to ensure accountability? Talk is cheap when the days turn long, and support wanes. Another voice from the crowd broke in sharply. We'll have regular meetings, updates on our progress. If anyone stalls, we'll hold each other accountable. Exactly. Lily jumped in. We're in this together. We can build a community where support doesn't fade but flourishes. The rich man cocked his head. So you really think you can turn this meeting into a sustainable venture? As she met his gaze, something ignited. She was tired of hesitation holding her back. Yes, I truly believe we can. But I need your support, not just financially, but in joining us as a mentor, inspiring us when we lose our way. A ripple ran through the crowd at her challenge. The murmurs turned to nods and agreement. More voices rose up, sharing their doubts but also their deep-seated desires for a future where creativity thrived among them. Listen, he said, a hint of admiration breaking through his serious facade. If I invest, I want to see actionable plans. Something I can quantify. Show me you mean business. The room ignited like dry wood catching fire. People began to rattle off ideas: collaborative workshops, shared studio spaces, community art events. Each suggestion was another weight lifted, another step toward a dream. Lily felt the energy swell. Let us create a mission statement. Something we can stand behind. A young man's voice rang out. Let us call ourselves the collective. A space for voices, raw and real. A place where we challenge each other and grow. The ties were beginning to form. Those once overlapping insecurities now intertwined into a shared narrative of purpose. But the rich man wasn't done. He leaned in, a glint of gold in his eyes. All right, you've captured my interest. Here's the deal. I won't just invest money. I'll offer resources, connections to galleries, marketing support, but only if I see your commitment within the next month. Do we have a deal? He threw down the gauntlet. The challenge bounced about the room, electrifying the air again. "Deal," Lily replied before she could stop herself, the word bursting free. A wave of cheers erupted behind her, sweeping through the crowd like wind through trees. Hope soared anew, mingling with a palpable sense of accountability. But as the applause faded and agreement settled in, doubt crept in again. What if they couldn't meet his expectations? What if they failed? Lily's heart fluttered, but she steadied herself. "Let us take this first step together. No more empty talk," she said, voice firm. "This is our moment." And with that, a path forward began to take shape, one filled with promise, camaraderie, and a looming challenge that felt both exhilarating and terrifying. But as the meeting began to close, the Emerald Lady's voice pierced through. "And what happens when the real world hits? Are you all prepared for that reality, or will it break you?" Lily felt that old doubt stir again. The shadows of uncertainty danced in the corners of her mind. Could they truly rise against every challenge ahead? As they left the room, buzzing with excitement yet carrying the weight of that question, a fresh determination settled in. This was just the beginning. Would they meet the challenges head-on? Or would they find the cracks of doubt widen into rifts too deep to cross? The night was still young, and a world of possibilities lay ahead. The following weeks flew by in a blur of energy and enthusiasm. Lily hardly had time to breathe as the members of the collective dove into planning. They transformed the once quiet studio into a vibrant hive of creativity. Painted walls splashed with ideas and sketches, and laughter that echoed through the open space. Friends were recruited, and friendships deepened. It became a sanctuary for the dreamers who shared a vision. Yet, beneath the surface of this rising hope lay a simmering anxiety. As the deadline approached, the reality of their commitment pressed down on her like a heavy weight. Each day, Lily gathered the courage to face the group, but doubts threatened to creep in every time she closed her eyes at night. One evening, they sat in a circle on the floor, papers and paint splatters decorating their clothes. "We need to finalize our mission statement," Mark suggested, his brow furrowed. "It can't just be pretty words. We need to convey what the collective really stands for." Lily nodded, her heart racing. "It's about community and growth, yes, but it's more. It's about resilience. About every one of us finding strength in our shared struggles. We fight for a space that belongs to us. A place where art can thrive." "I'm scared," a voice trembled from the back. It was Maya, her hands clasped tightly together. "What if we fail? What if we can't deliver?" A hush fell over the room, and Lily's throat tightened. She wanted to tell Maya that everything would be all right. Instead, she opened her mouth and felt the words escape her lips. "It's okay to be scared. But fear can also inspire us to work harder, to dig deeper. If we fail, it will be together. And we will learn from it." The mood began to shift, the air thickening with determination. Everyone began to share their fear and hope, words flowing like the paint spilling on their papers. Each confession was a thread, weaving them closer together. Suddenly, someone banged on the door. It startled them all, confusion spreading across their faces. Mark went to the door, pulling it open slowly. There stood a figure, silhouetted against the fading light, a tall, imposing man in a suit. "Evening," the man said, his voice smooth, but with an edge of authority. "I'm here to speak with Lily." Lily's heart raced. Who are you?" "I work for the man you spoke with at that meeting. The investment opportunity." The room buzzed with surprise as he stepped inside, the air crackling with intrigue. He looked directly at Lily, his sharp gaze piercing even through the nerves that tightened her stomach. "Yes, impressed. He wants to see what you've accomplished so far." Lily swallowed hard, adrenaline surging. Was this the moment of reckoning? She thought of the notes scattered on the floor, the half-finished ideas. Her heart pounded. We have some concepts, we're still organizing everything. It's a work in progress." A smirk played on his lips. "I'm sure you are, but time is running out. If you want to keep this deal alive, I need to know if you're worth the risk." The weight of his words sank in, gripping her gut. What would it take to convince him? Lily noticed her friends exchanging worried glances. They too felt the pressure mount, their dreams balancing on the edge of this moment. "So, are you ready to show me?" he asked, crossing his arms, the challenge hanging palpably in the air. Every heartbeat felt like a drum, as if it were echoing the urgency of the moment, the potential for success, or the chance of failure looming large. Were they truly ready? Would they crumble under the weight of expectation, or rise to meet the challenge? The future of the collective rested in her hands, and she could feel the surge of determination wrapping around her. Yes, she replied, her voice steady and firm. We're ready. We will show you what we built. As she spoke, a new energy began to flow among her friends, igniting that shared spark once more. But as the man studied her closely, Lily's heart still raced. What if they truly weren't enough? As they gathered their thoughts to present their ideas, uncertainty loomed, but so did the promise of change. With the stakes higher than ever, would they succeed, or would their dreams slip through their fingers? The night was still unfolding, and everything was about to change once again. Lily took a deep breath, her heart racing as she glanced at her friends. In that moment, the room felt both small and enormous, suspended in a fragile bubble of possibility. The daunting figure before them seemed to embody every fear they had ever faced. She could see the tension in Maya's shoulders, the way Mark fidgeted with his notes, and the quiet determination etched on Carlos's face. All right, the man said, shifting his stance slightly. Show me what you've got. Lily felt a wave of urgency. Let us split up. Each of us has something to present. It'll feel more dynamic that way. She wanted to move, to shift the focus away from the pressure pressing down on her. Mark nodded, his face lighting up. I can start with our visual concepts. Let us showcase how each of our individual styles flows into a cohesive piece. One by one, they brought forth their ideas, each piece a reflection of their struggles, aspirations, and the life they envisioned for the collective. Mark's sketches pulsed with energy, vibrant colors leaping off the paper like the artists themselves. Maya's creations shared poignant stories through raw, emotional imagery, while Carlos spun a narrative that tied it all together, leaving space for laughter amidst the heavy themes. Lily felt the rhythm of their presentations begin to build. The man leaned in, his curiosity piqued. She could see the way his brow furrowed in concentration, and she felt a flicker of hope. Perhaps their passion could translate into something tangible. As the energy in the room surged, Lily remembered her own contribution, the centerpiece she had envisioned that spoke of resilience and community spirit. Taking a deep breath, she stepped forward, her hands trembling slightly as she revealed her painting to the group. This, she began, represents our journey, the chaos and the beauty of what we're trying to create together. Art isn't just about beauty, it's about connection. Each layer represents the struggles we face and how they shape who we are. Tension crackled in the air. Silence enveloped the room momentarily before the man spoke. It's interesting. But why should I invest in your dreams? Lily froze, those words shutting down the warm glow ignited by their efforts. Because it's not just about the art, she replied, her voice wavering but steadying with each passing second. It's about building a community that thrives off support and collaboration. We faced our fears, and the power we create together will outshine any individual effort. You can help us make a real difference. The man's eyes narrowed slightly. Is that a promise? Yes, Lily answered, conviction igniting inside her. A promise built on commitment and determination. We will work tirelessly to make this a success. A sanctuary for all that we believe in. The tension in the air shifted. He was studying her, and in his eyes, she saw something unguarded, a glimpse of respect, perhaps even admiration. But her heart still struggled against the tight coil of doubt. Did they do enough? In that charged moment, the man nodded slowly. All right, I'll give you a chance. But you'll need to prove that this isn't just a dream. Show me you can turn this into a reality. Relief washed over Lily like cool rain, but it was soon replaced with a new current of fear. They had a chance, but at what cost? Thank you, she said, gripping her friend's arms, a silent affirmation shared between them. But in the back of her mind, doubts whispered. Could they harness this opportunity without losing themselves in the process? As they celebrated their tiny victory under the fluorescent lights, Lily couldn't shake the feeling that this was only the beginning. What sacrifices would they have to make to turn their promise into a thriving reality? That night, they left the studio buzzing with excitement, but a darker question loomed on the horizon. What would happen when the pressure of success began to weigh them down? Lily's heart raced as they stepped out into the cool night air. The city's energy pulsing around them. The dimmed lights of nearby street lamps flickered like distant stars, and she felt a rush of exhilaration mixed with anxiety. They had a chance, but it felt like standing on the edge of a cliff, the ground below shrouded in fog. Mark broke the silence first. Can you believe it? He actually said yes. We might actually get funding. Maya jumped in, her eyes sparkling. This is our moment. All the late nights, the tears, the scraps of paper, it's happening. But beneath their cheers, Lily sensed a current of uncertainty. But we have to make it real. What if we can't live up to what he expects? Carlos leaned against the brick wall, arms crossed. Lily, we can't overthink this. We need to lay out a schedule, a plan. A clear roadmap of what we're going to do. If we tackle this like we've done everything else, we'll be fine. Lily nodded, but the unease twisted in her stomach. She thought about sacrifices, about what they might lose in the pursuit of their dream. The late nights would soon be longer and harder. Were they ready for that? The group headed to a nearby cafe to celebrate, laughter filling the space around them. For a moment, the weight of their fears lifted. They clinked mugs of steaming coffee, toasting to the future. I'm getting a head start on designs, Mark declared, already gesturing with excitement. We can have our first draft ready in a week. And hold on, Maya interrupted, her expression shifting. We need to think about branding too. We want this to reflect all of us. Not just individual pieces, but the collective soul of what we aim to create. Lily felt her heart thud. Collective soul, I love that. The three of them nodded in agreement. Their creativity ignited as they discussed ideas. A shadow crossed Lily's mind. What if their differing visions caused friction? What if they didn't align when the stakes got higher? The cafe bustled, and she glanced at the other patrons, each absorbed in their own world, just like her. It felt comforting yet isolating. She realized she had to voice her concerns, no matter how terrifying it felt. Guys, can we promise to be open with one another? I don't want any miscommunications or feelings of resentment. This is too important. Carlos raised an eyebrow, his tone serious. Absolutely. If something doesn't sit right, we need to talk about it. I'd rather have a rough conversation than build a foundation on shaky ground. Mark nodded emphatically. Let us keep those lines clear. We're stronger together, right? Relief flooded Lily. The bond between them felt both fragile and unbreakable. They spent the next hour mapping out ideas, laughter punctuating the serious moments. But deep inside, the fear of losing themselves seethed, waiting just beneath the surface. By the time they left the cafe, it was late. A chill swept through the streets, but they were wrapped in the warmth of camaraderie. As they turned toward home, Lily looked up at the stars, the night sky twinkling like a mosaic of dreams. But behind her smile lurked a question that wouldn't go away. What would happen when dreams began to clash with realities? A few blocks down, Lily spotted a flyer flapping on a nearby lamppost. It was a call for local artists to showcase their work at an upcoming fair. Her heart raced again. Was it an opportunity, or another distraction? Hey, should we try to get involved in this? She called out to her friends, already sensing the widening scope of their journey. Little did they know this would lead to more than just the art they were chasing. It would draw upon their deepest fears and forge them into something greater. What would they uncover when forced to confront their biggest challenges yet? Lily's gaze remained fixed on the flyer, her pulse quickening at the thought of the upcoming fair. What do you think? She asked, a mix of hope and apprehension in her voice. This could put our work out there. But is it too soon? Mark stepped closer, eyes gleaming. It's perfect. We can showcase our project and maybe even get more eyes on us. Plus, it's a chance to test our ideas against what people really want. Maya chimed in, exactly. We can create a mini version of what we plan to do. It'll give us valuable feedback. Lily felt the tightening grip of uncertainty. But what if people don't like it? What if it falls flat? Carlos, with a reassuring nod, said every great idea begins somewhere. We learn by doing, right? Think about all those late nights. If we don't put ourselves out there, how will we know? The group mulled over the idea, the energy shifting like the wind around them. They gathered on a street corner, the city lights casting a warm glow over their faces as they brainstormed. Lily's heart raced again. this time with exhilaration. Okay, let us do it then. But we need to make this really count. We should display all our strengths, art, design, and a bit of who we are. Let us start tomorrow, Mark declared. We need a strategy to divide our tasks. There's no time to waste. Agreed, said Maya. This is our shot, and I'm not letting any fear hold us back. As they walked home, a flicker of excitement replaced her earlier doubt. But deep down, an uneasy thought lingered. The fear of what would happen under pressure. Days turned into a blur of creativity and late-night meetings. Each of them dove deep into their roles. Mark sketched designs that captured a unique flair, Maya crafted a compelling narrative behind their project, and Lily found a bittersweet joy in weaving the emotional threads that tied everything together. Yet the closer they got to the fair, the more stressed the atmosphere became. They would gather in Lily's cramped living room, cluttered with sketches and cups of half-empty coffee. Mark would pace, running hands through his hair. Maya's brow would furrow in concentration as she edited their presentation repeatedly. One night, with the deadline looming, tensions spilled over. This doesn't feel right, Mark shouted, causing Lily's heart to thump painfully. We're losing the essence of what we wanted to create. That's because we're trying to please everyone. Maya shot back. We need to stick to what makes us unique. Lily felt the weight of their frustrations bearing down on her. Maybe we should take a step back, she said gently. If we keep fighting like this, we'll miss our chance to shine. Silence enveloped the room, heavy with unsaid words and tangled emotions. After what felt like an eternity, Maya finally spoke up. You're right. We need to remember why we started this. The group shared a moment of clarity, pausing their frantic push. They sat in the dim light, reminded of their original excitement, laughter surfacing again as they recalled their first late-night brainstorming sessions. With renewed spirit, they threw themselves back into the task. The fair day arrived, and nerves danced in Lily's stomach like butterflies taking flight. As she prepared the final details at the venue, she caught a glimpse of the bustling crowd. It felt electrifying and daunting all at once. Mark placed a hand on her shoulder. Whatever happens, we did this together. Yeah, Maya added, her voice steady. We'll face it as a team. But as the doors opened and people began to filter in, Lily couldn't shake the feeling that this was only the beginning. What if their dreams erupted into something unexpected? Something deep and transforming? With her heart thudding wildly, she turned to face the crowd. Would this be their moment? Or would it be a hard lesson on the road ahead? Lily took a breath, her eyes wide with anticipation, ready to discover what awaited them. And maybe, just maybe, this fair would reveal more than they had ever imagined. Lily's heart raced, pounding like the beat of a drum as the doors swung wide open. The crowd poured in, a living, breathing entity of spirits, hopes and dreams. She stood beside Mark and Maya, their energy surging through her like electricity. The atmosphere buzzed with anticipation, but doubt still churned within her as if ready to erupt at any moment. As people wandered through their display, Lily watched intently, hoping to catch the spark of inspiration in their eyes. The colorful canvases hung around them, stories waiting to be told. Yet she felt the weight of the moment pressing down like a heavy blanket. Were they ready for this? Could they truly make an impact? The first person came to their booth, a young woman, bright-eyed and captivated by a piece that reflected the struggle and beauty of community. Wow, this is incredible, she exclaimed, running her fingers across the texture of the paint. Lily felt a warmth spread through her heart, a flame igniting as she listened to whispers of admiration ripple through the crowd. One by one, strangers approached, and with each conversation, Lily gained confidence. They spoke of the stories behind the art, the resilience and love woven into each brushstroke. The collective energy surged, drawing in even more people, and what began as a trickle turned into a cascading wave of interest. Suddenly, the tall man from the meeting appeared again, surveying their work with a critical eye. The group held their breath, a collective heartbeat pulsing with uncertainty. But as he focused on Maya's narrative piece, she explained it passionately, emphasizing the struggles artists faced every day. And you're evolving this into a community space? He asked, intrigued. Why do you believe that is necessary? Because it's a foundation for us to rise together, Maya replied firmly. Art has the power to heal. To bring people closer when we share, we connect. Lily watched as the man's expression softened slightly. His gaze darted back and forth between the pieces and the passion in the trio's eyes. Mark joined in, showcasing a miniature display of their plans for workshops, a gallery, and a supportive network for struggling artists. We want to create spaces where dreams take flight, Mark added earnestly, his enthusiasm contagious. Art can't live in isolation. It thrives in community. The crowd began to swell around them, and the buzz escalated, a cocktail of laughter, hope, and cautious optimism harmonizing into a melody that filled the air. Lily marveled at how a simple idea had transformed into an immersive experience. That glimmer of excitement returned to her heart, resonating with every appreciative nod and piece of feedback. They had done more than create a display, they had sparked a movement. Amid the chaos, the tall man leaned closer, his voice low yet authoritative. You've captivated me. I want to see how you execute this vision. If you can turn this passion into real impact, I'm willing to invest not just money, but mentorship too. The group erupted into joyous whispers, the weight of anticipation lifting as hope soared. Lily felt tears welling up, tears of joy, of triumph, of realization that this night was more than just presenting art. It was about believing in each other, about coming together to shape futures. They had challenged themselves and found a way to rise above fear. So what will it be? The man continued, glancing around, gauging their reactions. Are you ready to put your words into action? Yes. They replied in unison, voicing a collective determination that filled the air like a bold proclamation. The tall man nodded with approval. I'll arrange a follow-up meeting, he said, his eyes sparkling with newfound respect. You're onto something special. As the night wound down, laughter echoed, faces lit with radiant smiles. The journey ahead mapped itself clearly in their minds, the path holding endless possibilities. Lily glanced at her friends, each one reflecting the joy and pride they felt, knowing they had taken that first courageous leap into the unknown together. This was just the beginning, the start of a community born from love, resilience, and art. They knew they would face challenges, but now they realized something monumental. They were no longer alone in their struggles or their victories. With newfound strength, they embraced the night, hearts full of hope. Together, they would build something incredible. And as they walked into the warm embrace of dawn, dreams ignited like vibrant flames, ready to light the way forward. Now more than ever, it's essential to support our journey. You need to subscribe now to catch the next exclusive stories that unfold. Leave a like to let everyone know you believe in this mission. Your engagement fuels us. Comment below with your reactions and feelings about this inspiring ending. And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to witness this transformation. Together, we can change lives.